Stop! Hello everybody, it's Connie on this soon to be, well, it's not going to be cold yet, not till tomorrow anyway. Everybody has got their groceries, got the food they're going to eat for the next 2 or 3 days, gonna possibly more. What was it? What do I hear? Hold on, something's making noise. I am sitting in my living room, so there probably will be random people walking through making noises. Someone give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. I'm not sure about this mic sometimes. Hi Dawn, can you give me a thumbs up? Guess I can check myself. 1 second. Someone give me a thumbs up if I can hear me okay. Okay, I can hear it on my phone, so anyway. Tonight is part 5 of the Catoosa Unified Development Code. Still not quite. Let's see. I'll go over my rundown. You're not hearing. Okay, let me try. Do you have me all the way up, Jamie? How's this? Is this better? Can you hear me now? When I listen to my phone, I can hear myself. I just want to make sure. Okay. Let me turn it up again. Oh. How's this? Is this better? Can you hear me now? When I listen to my phone, I can hear myself. I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay. Alright, well, if you still can't hear me, let me know. I'm gonna get started. Last night was the second public meeting for the Unified Development Code. And I did see people there. I went in later on because we had a Keep Catoosa Beautiful meeting, and then we went over there as a group to go see what was going on. But if you go to the city website, if you didn't make it to the meeting and you still have something to say, I will say you still have time to go to the city website and find this graphic here. Let's see, let me go to the home page. When you go pull up the home page, you see the whale, and then the first news post, you click on this here, and then I click on it, and it takes you to this page. And so you can read the draft, you can read the PDF of the code here, and then they have this link. It says City of Catoosa Unified Development Code Feedback fill out form, and you can leave your comments there. And then down at the bottom is the information for Jody King, who is our Catoosa Director of Community Development. And there's the phone number for the city. You can leave, I guess, I don't know if they mean they're going to take this link off on February 2nd. The next city council meeting should be it's going to be the first Tuesday of February. They probably don't have that on there yet. So you should be able to, I mean, you can go and leave comments at any city council meeting. You can speak to the city council. You can get on the website and find the city council members and email them, or call City Hall and find out how to get a hold of them. And like I've said before, you don't have to call the city councilor of your district because the entire city votes for every city council member. And so any of them should freely be willing to talk to you about any concerns you have about anything, not just the code that they are going to vote on. Alright, let me switch over to the code itself so we can get started. See how far I want to get tonight. Hopefully to page 100. And then basically, since we're going to be watching this weather, I will be able to just do the videos until we get through it. And then after they'll be on Conversation Catoosa, and then I will upload them to YouTube. And then when they start disappearing from CC, I'll make a post. Well, when we get done, I'll make a post to my YouTube so people can go watch them there, because Facebook has decided that any live videos are to be deleted after so many days. So they don't have their data centers built yet to now keep all the live videos people use, I guess, anymore, because they used to just always be there, and now they delete them after so long, and they don't have the memory storage, I guess. I don't know. So here we go. Article 6. Oh, I need to share it. Article 6. Okay. Make sure it's flipped. There it is. Okay. Oh, that TV is really loud in my headphones. If there's a way I can turn that down in my... It's like I can hear every little thing, so it's got to be loud. Let me look at my settings. Try this a little bit. That should hopefully. Let me see if that mutes me. Hold on a second. Doing a little learning here. Oh, that TV is really loud in my head. Okay, I guess that worked. Alright, I'm back. What is this? Pop-ups. Don't need that. I don't need this. Go away. Okay. There we go. And if you hear the jingle jangle, that's my beagle and her tags. Gotta sit down. Gotta sit down over there. Gotta sit down. She's kind of insistent that she climb up on my lap, but I have to. Hold on a second. Before I get started, let me deal with the dog. No. Go get her! Go get her! Go get Ruby! Did that wrong. Y'all heard that. Anyway, okay. Okay, let's see. Article 6 Development Standards. Are we there? Yes, we are there. Okay. Let me blow it up like I've been doing so it's a little bit easier to see. Oh, it starts with the applicability word. My favorite. Alright. Development standards. Now my mic doesn't want to stay put. Boy, this is just fun tonight, y'all. I might have to trim this down when I get it recorded. Okay. Applicability development standards shall apply as follows. 1.1 New construction. All development standards shall apply. 1.2 Change of use. No change in square footage. Parking standards in section 6.3.2 shall apply. 1.3 addition of parking with or without building addition or change in use. Standards in section 6.2. 6.3.2 Parking standards shall apply to the extent feasible. No additional nonconformity shall be created, nor shall an existing nonconformity be made worse. 1.4 Exterior remodel. Standards in section 2 shall apply to the extent practicable. No additional nonconformity shall be created, nor shall an existing nonconformity be made worse. Nonconformity, just a review, those are the properties that once this code is enacted and that property is currently not conforming to the new code, it's called a nonconformity. And it means it's kind of like grandfathered in up until a certain point. So you can go back and learn a little bit about that or review that. It's explained in the earlier sections. Building additions. All sections shall apply to the building addition. No additional nonconformity shall be created, nor an existing nonconformity be made worse. 1.6 Other. No additional nonconformity shall be created, or shall an existing nonconformity be made worse. Just for example, in the earlier, it talked about signs. If a sign is right now it's not within the new regulations, it's considered non-conforming. And if it were to be damaged up to a certain percent, they couldn't rebuild it. It would have to be a new sign that conformed to the new standards. So if a sign is currently too tall for the standards they're setting, which I don't know, I don't remember, I haven't got into the sign height, but and it was taken down by a windstorm or something, it couldn't be rebuilt as it was if it was taken out completely. That includes, there's some stuff about lighting and LEDs and stuff like that. Okay, another thing, I will read along. I will stop. I will try to think about it in my head. Um, I will say as I understand it, because as I read it, this is my first time going through it, and I will stop to try to think of examples or explain it. And I'm not a lawyer or attorney, I'm not a city planner. I'm reading it as a, I guess I can't say Joe Blow, like just a regular person reading something for the first time. And I will say, as I understand this is how I'm reading it and how as I understand it. So, just like I don't have a lot of deep knowledge of city planning and zoning and stuff like that. Building and urban design standards. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're in 2. Building and urban design standards. Oh gosh. Okay, 2.1. Non-residential design standards. Purpose and intent. Blow it up a little bit more. And skewed it. Okay. The intent of this section is to establish design and development standards that foster high quality, attractive, and enduring non-residential development. The standards are intended to I. Protect and enhance the character and quality of retail, office, and industrial areas in Catoosa. 2. Protect and enhance the long-term 3. Market value of property within Catoosa. 3. Enhance the human and pedestrian scale of retail and office developments. And ensure compatibility between residential neighborhoods and adjacent commercial uses. Mitigate negative visual impacts arising from scale, bulk, and mass of large commercial and industrial buildings and centers. Promote building designs and construction practices that are enduring and adaptable to multiple uses for extended building life cycles. Okay. Where was I? 5, 6. Establish a sense of place for the commercial areas in Catoosa and balance the community's economic and aesthetic concerns. Okay. Has anybody in the community given the city your economic and aesthetic concerns? Just asking a question. Okay. One second. This microphone business is kind of bugging me. I want to check one more thing. I'm just gonna have to trust her right now. Site design and building organization. Purpose. Site design standards address a development's relationship to its surrounding natural features. One second. I'm just gonna have to trust her. Okay. I think it's working. Alright. Site design standards address a development's relationship to its surrounding natural features, street network, and land uses. They also address the relationship between key elements within the site. Careful site design is critical to the success of non-residential projects, and the standards of this section should be considered at the outset and throughout the design process. The standards of this section are intended to 1. Ensure development is sensitive to the physical characteristics of the site. 2. Ensure building scale, orientation, and design relates to the surrounding uses and streets and creates a cohesive visual identity and an attractive street scene, especially in neighborhood commercial areas. So ensure building scale, the size, the layout, the design, that it functions and looks like it's supposed to be in that area, and that it's cohesive to the identity, an attractive street scene. Okay. So this is about visuals and what's the word? If it's aesthetically pleasing to the area and fits in. Ensure site design for efficient pedestrian, bicycle transit, and vehicular circulation patterns, and create a high quality pedestrian environment where appropriate. So a lot of this code, the big time in the comprehensive plan, city planning all over, they're focusing more on walkability and any other mode besides cars. Basically, I mean, there's going to be street plans here, but the primary, like the big focus is on, if you're building a street, it also has to have sidewalks, it's got to have bike lanes, etc. Let's see. High quality pedestrian environment. Promote design environments built to human scale where appropriate. Okay. Ensure delivery, trash, and loading facilities are located to be visibly appealing and not impede regular vehicular and pedestrian circulation and access routes, and ensure safe pedestrian access between buildings and parking areas. Okay. Building organization and orientation. Individual buildings. Development composed of one or two buildings shall be oriented so that the front facade faces the primary street. On corner lots, the buildings shall face the higher street designation unless adjoining and connected development provides a context for street frontage along the lower designation street as determined by the administrator. In cases where the longer side of a building is perpendicular to the primary street, the portion of the building facing the primary street shall be designed as a building front with entrances, signage, and transparent windows. Okay, so for example, and this is the one I can think of immediately because it's fairly new. Cherokee Elementary does not have a front door facing Cherokee. The front door of the building, the main entrance, is facing south. There is a door facing east, but it's on the middle part of the building it's actually facing the road the drive on the property of the school. It's a loading door. It's access to a play area. So the main door faces south. So the new school, if they were to build it after this passed, that door would have had to face Cherokee, from as I understand what this is saying. Helen Paul, its main door does face Cherokee, so it's in compliance. Somebody's rattling on me. This mic's picking up every little thing. I need something. Alright. It's a little sensitive. I'm turning it down just a little bit. Okay. So that's what that means. Single commercial building orientation. So primary street, secondary street. I mean, this is kind of how the school's laid out right here. They got all the parking around it, but normally, like, it looks like this would be Cherokee on here, but there's no street right here because it's L's Cafe, because there's a parking area, but it would be in compliance if this was Cherokee and that's the school front. So, corner orientations, parking inside and rear, connected to landscape parking. Okay, figure 6.1-1, illustration of a single building orientation and site organization. Let me shrink this down just a little bit so I can go back and forth quickly. 2. Multiple buildings. Development composed of 3 or more buildings shall be configured. See figure 6.1-2. Which one is this? Oh, it must be below. Okay. Break up the site into a series of smaller internal blocks defined by on-site driveways, private streets, and vehicle access. Ways, pedestrian walkways, or other circulation routes. Buildings should frame internal streets, and parking should be located in the middle of the block. Large parking areas should be broken up into smaller parking areas defined by internal landscape drives designed as quasi-streets, private access easements, driveways, etc. that have pedestrian frontages and streetscapes. So, I wonder what, let's see. I wonder if this is like a section of one of the areas. So anchor stores A, inline shops B, commercial pads C, open space and public art in D, and service loading docks in S. So, okay, so there'd be all the parking, service docks. Okay, that's okay. How they want to lay out commercial. Okay. Illustration of site organization for a multiple building development. 3. Building entry design. All buildings shall have their primary entrance directly off the street or through a recessed area, courtyard, or plaza located adjacent to the street. The primary building entrance shall be readily apparent as a prominent architectural component from the street, thus creating a focal point. However, non-residential buildings with multiple tenants on the ground floor or multiple primary entrances shall have all entrances treated architecturally. Okay, the primary shall be apparent as a prominent architectural component from the street. Okay, creating a focal point. However, non-residential buildings with multiple tenants on the ground floor or multiple primary entrances shall have all entrances treated architecturally. So, okay. What is, I mean, I think I understand, like, treated architecturally, like, you know that's the front door when you look at the building type architecture. So if you have a row of businesses on a strip mall, all the businesses' doors have to look like that focal point too. Primary building entrances are to be defined and articulated with the architectural elements such as pediments, columns, porticos, porches, and overhangs. Alright, I know what these are, but I don't know if I've ever heard of a pediment. One second, I'm curious to know. I can learn something today. Pediment. Dog, go away. A triangular gable often crowning a building entrance or window. That's a pediment. Oh, okay, like. Interesting. If anybody wants to know what a pediment looks like. For example. Okay. Height transitions. Transitions between non-residential buildings and adjoining residential neighborhoods shall be provided by using a combination of the following techniques. Concentrating the tallest buildings at the center of the site or along primary street frontages, or stepping down the height of buildings along any shared residential lot line or street frontage to the zoned maximum height of the adjacent residential structure. See figure 6.1-3. Alright, let's see. Zone minimum setback plus additional 20 feet. Transition area, okay. Adjacent residential maximum height is V. Okay, zone minimum setback, W. So you have a tall building, and then this is the transitional area, okay. Figure 6.1-3, illustration of height transition to a single-family detached zone lot. Building design purpose. Building design directly influences the character and function of non-residential or mixed-use development. The standards of this section are intended to 1. Ensure that multiple building or phased commercial developments use compatible schemes of materials, colors, and architectural styles to ensure the consistency. This includes accessory structures such as freestanding canopies, accessory and maintenance buildings, and dumpster enclosures. Ensuring that individual buildings have a single, definitive, consistent style. Mixing of various architectural styles on the same building is discouraged. So you can't have Spanish tiles on Roman or columns in the front or something. I don't know. Let's see. Ensure that buildings are designed to a human scale, and encourage adaptable development by designing buildings to be adaptable for multiple uses over time based on changing market demand. Okay. Street side architecture. All building elevations facing a public or private street, does not apply to alleys, shall be architecturally finished with comparable levels of materials and detailing, tiles, moldings, cornices, wainscoting, etc. Cornices? Is that how you say that word? I don't know. Blank walls, void of architectural details or other variations are prohibited. So, if you've got details on the front side, you gotta have it on the side too if it faces the street. Building form and mass. A single large dominant building mass shall be avoided in new commercial buildings and redevelopment projects under this code. Changes in mass shall be related to entrances, tenant spaces, the integral structure, and the interior space organization and activity, and just not for cosmetic effect. Exterior walls. All exterior walls, with the exception of rear or service facades, shall be designed with a base and top. Base. Facades and walls shall have a recognizable base, but not limited to thicker walls, ledges, or sills. Integrally textured materials such as stone or other masonry, or storefront windows and displays. Top. Facades and walls shall have a recognizable top with, but not limited to, cornice, I don't know how to say that word, sorry, treatments other than colored stripes or bands alone with integrity. Textured materials such as stone or other masonry or differently colored materials. Don't start into. These are my dogs. They gotta bug each other. Sloping roof with overhangs and brackets or parapets that step up to emphasize entries. Alright, building articulation. Buildings shall be designed to reduce apparent mass by dividing facades onto a series of smaller components. No individual component shall have a length of more than 60 feet. Components shall be distinguished from one another through two or more of the following: variations in roof form or variations in roof height, or parapet of 2 feet or more, changes in wall plane of a minimum 10% in width and a minimum 24 inches in depth, variations in the arrangement and recessing of doors, recognizable changes in texture, material, or decorative columns. Windows and transparency. At ground level, buildings shall have a high level of transparency. Facades and walls that face the street, pedestrian walkways, plaza, and parking areas, excluding building rear or side, must have transparent windows. Opaque windows and fully tinted windows are not permitted. So, I wonder if that includes mirrored. At ground level, buildings shall have a large. So you can't decide your windows. Where the internal arrangement of a building makes it impossible to provide transparency along a portion of a wall, as determined by administrator, a combination of changing color or texture to imitate the rhythm of windows or storefront displays may substitute for 50% required transparent areas, except when fronting open space. Pedestrian priorities, streets in Old Town or sidewalk cafe areas. And just a reminder, Old Town is the area around Cherokee they want to develop to make a walkable downtown, basically. Think Broken Arrow downtown. Roof forms. Variations in roof lines shall be used to add interest and reduce the scale of large buildings. Roof features shall correspond to and denote building elements and functions such as entrances, arcades, canopies, etc. They shall also complement the character of the overall development. 1. Flat roofs. Flat roofs shall include parapets that adhere to architectural requirements for the main face of the structure. The average height of the parapet should not exceed 15% of the height of the supporting wall, unless rooftop equipment cannot be sufficiently screened. A three-dimensional cornice treatment is encouraged for parapets. Parapets shall look complete from all sides if visible at any distance from the ground. Parapets shall be constructed of the same material as the primary facade. 2. Sloped roofs. Pitched roofs shall have a minimum pitch of 3 to 12 for all structures. This requirement excludes roofs for entries and dormers. Any overhanging eaves shall extend at least 1 foot past the supporting walls. Building materials. Exterior walls. All exterior walls, including parking structures, garages, and accessory structures, shall be finished with 80% approved materials. A maximum of 20% of each elevation may include accent materials not listed on the approved material list but shall be approved by the building official. The approved material coverage calculation shall not include doors, windows, chimneys, dormers, window boxes, or bay windows that do not extend to the foundation. Approved materials shall be defined as native stone, brick, or tile laid upon unit by unit and set in mortar. Stucco, exterior Portland cement plaster with 3 coats over metal lath or wire fabric lath. Cultured stone or cast stone, architecturally finished block, burnished block, split face concrete masonry units, or architecturally finished tilt wall that is made to look like masonry, an architecturally finished precast wall that is profiled, sculpted, or provides 3-dimensional interest similar to masonry. 4. Rear facades that are not adjacent to residential uses or front facades of other non-residential buildings may be constructed with tilt wall concrete, concrete block, or aggregated concrete in addition to the materials permitted in this subsection. Roof materials. Sloped or pitched roofs shall be constructed of asphalt shingles, synthetic shingles, standing seam metal, or tile. Flat roofs may be constructed of any industry standard materials as approved by the building official, unless prohibited by this section. Number 6. Prohibited materials. The following materials are prohibited as exterior cladding or roofing materials: aluminum siding or cladding with the exception of architectural metal, which is allowed as an accent material; galvanized steel or other bright metal with the exception of architectural metal, which is allowed as an accent material; plastic vinyl siding sheets, does not include vinyl siding boards formed to resemble lumber; unfinished or smooth concrete, block masonry units or concrete wall; exposed aggregate; corrugated metal and tar paper prohibited from all roof types; reflective, mirrored, or opaque glass. Well, that would be an interesting roofing material in Oklahoma, opaque glass. Alright, 7. Shade requirements. Wait 1 second. Okay. All development shall provide shaded pedestrian walkways along at least 50% of all building facades along streets, outdoor gathering spaces, and internal drives along parking areas. Okay. Shade may be provided through any or a combination of the following. 1. Arcades, canopies, or galleries. 2. Canopy trees. 3. Trellises or pergolas. Or 4. Any other shading device is approved by administrator. When I think of businesses with shades, I'm thinking of like I know there's other places. I'm just like, what comes to mind is the outlet mall in Jinx. It's all shaded in the center, between the store faces. And if you haven't been there, they all face inside each other. That was my dog, sorry. Design of auto-oriented elements. 1. Drive-through and drive-up facilities. Off-street stacking lanes for drive-through aisles must be provided as follows. A. Bank teller window, ATM at least 60 feet. Measured from teller, window, or ATM. Restaurant drive-through at least 40 feet, measured from order box at least 60 feet between order box and first payment or pickup window. Car wash at least 60 feet, measured from wash bay entrance. D. Other uses with drive-through windows. Pharmacy, drive cleaners, etc. at least 60 feet, measured from window. Drive-through aisles must be physically separated from parking and circulation areas by landscape islands. And A. Cannot interfere with on-site parking and circulation from other vehicles on the site. B, cannot interfere with on-site parking. And C, cannot result in the traffic queuing into a drive aisle, adjacent property or street. 3, drive-through aisles shall be 10 to 12 feet wide. 4, drive-through aisles, stacking, and windows cannot be on a public street face of the building. Yeah, that's what we talked about previously. Like, if Catoosa owned 193rd Admiral there where the scooters is, then that scooter's window would have had to face inside. It couldn't face 193rd. Alright, design of gas pumps and canopies. There shall be at least 20 feet for every one vehicle stacked behind the vehicle at the far end of row of gas pumps and other room for other vehicles to bypass stacked vehicles at fueling areas. Okay. Canopies shall include design elements found on the main building, including color, materials, and roof pitch. Canopies support poles shall include decorative corbels consistent with the overall architecture theme of the site, or pole covers at least 18 inches wide with similar surface material and architectural treatments as the dominant material on the main structure. Okay. Canopy fascia must be the same color as the dominant color of the main building. Striping and banding on canopies is prohibited. Gas pumps and canopies shall be placed on the side or rear of the convenience building and not directly adjacent to a public street. So, if Hooks was... Wait, what is it called? The gas station over there. Is it... The new one, is it Easy Peasy or something? Like, they would have to... They were building new on that corner. They'd have to put the pumps to the back of the building? I don't know. Let's see. Residential design standards. Oh, here we go. Residential people. Purpose and intent. The standards of this section are intended to promote high quality residential developments that are distinctive, have character, and relate and connect to established neighborhoods. Provide variety and visual interest in the exterior design of residential buildings. Create new neighborhoods that age gracefully and add long-term value to the city. Enhance the residential streetscape and diminish the prominence of garages and parking areas. Protect property values and ensure the compatibility of infill residential development with the existing character of surrounding neighborhoods. Single-family building design standards. For all single-family buildings outside of Old Town District, the minimum standard of construction is determined by Oklahoma Statutes, 2022 Oklahoma Statutes, Title 11, Cities and Towns, Article 11-43-109.3. Old Town is recognized as a special district by the Comprehensive Plan and is exempt from OS 11-43-109.3, 2 and 4 family residential building design standards. So, wait a second. Am I going to have to do a whole other section of lives on this statute here? Let me look it up really quick. Or we will write it down and look it up later. Copy this real quick. Come on. I'll do that. Copy. Paste. Enter. I'll have to come back to that one. That'll be a special episode. Get into the Oklahoma statutes. Alright. Old towns recognized as special. Okay. Two to four family residential building design standards. Applicability. This section shall apply to all new and redeveloped 2 or 4 family residential development in all zoning districts with the following exceptions. That has specific residential design standards are approved after the adoption date of this ordinance. 2. Special district section 6.1.4 shall apply, and any allotted plat prior to the adoption of this ordinance. Facade design. Facades must be articulated by using color arrangement or change in materials to emphasize the facade elements. Exterior wall planes may be varied in height, depth, or direction. Design elements and detailing include the presence of windows and window treatments for walls that face the public right away. Trim detailing and exterior wall materials must be continued completely around the structure. Doors and windows must be detailed to add visual interest to the facade. Alright, so interesting facades. Goodness. Oh, page 99. We're finally on page 100. Yay. I thought I'd never get here. Just 128 to go. Garage design. All lots 40 feet or less in width shall provide garages along alleys. The following graphics indicate the accepted location and placement of garages attached or detached when an alley is not available. So, up until, oh gosh, I grew up in a neighborhood in Glenpool, and it's laid out just about like any other neighborhood in Oklahoma right now, where, you drive down the street, you pull in the driveway, and there's your garage. I don't think it was until I started watching King of the Hill that I realized that there are neighborhoods where you have a main street and then you have an alley where you go in the back and park. I had no clue. But I guess that's common, so I don't know if that's what's going to be like the new design of neighborhoods around here. I don't know. And I'm not talking about just Catoosa. I'm talking about all over. Sorry about the extra noise. Someone's in the kitchen. All lots 40 feet or less in which shall provide garages along alleys. Okay, so the following graphics indicate accepted location and placement of garages attached or detached when an alley is not available. So if you don't have an alley already, you can have a garage. Oh, your road has to turn to the garage door faces the inside of the side of the house, or here where you go past your house and park your garage in the back, or the garage is all the way to the back of the house. It can no longer be built when you driveway straight into the garage. Alright, building entrances. All buildings shall have at least one primary entry door oriented towards the primary street. The main entry to the home shall be visible from the street. 2 to 4 family buildings may have side entrances for other units as long as at least one unit has an entrance door oriented towards the primary street. see. Provide a prominent entry feature, either projected or recessed, that reflects the home's architectural style. Common projected entries are porches and stoops. 2 and 1 story recessed entry features that do not incorporate roof overhangs or stoops shall not be permitted. Roof design shall be a simple roof structure. Excessive number of roof ridges and forms shall be avoided. Other roof types and proportions shall be appropriate to the architectural style of the home. Roof elements such as dormers, chimneys, skylights, and varying heights and ridgelines may be utilized to ensure good design and neighborhood continuity. However, these shall be appropriately scaled for the architectural style of the home. So they give 2 examples here. And let me blow this up a little bit. So simple roof structure, we got this front wall with 4 windows. And it's got this, what do they call it? Well, this is the roof line for that. And then they have these 2 windows here with their roof lines there. And then they got the back main line. That's simple. But you can't have any fancy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peaks. Which, I don't know. To me, that looks like a cooler home. But that's me. But again, like, that still go back to understanding, like, to me this all comes down to people's taste, and what's one person's taste isn't necessarily another person's taste. And I mean, if there's something about the state statute that talk about this, I'll find it, but like, I honestly don't see what's wrong with either one of these houses. So, I mean, and what is this thing right here, what does that have to do with the future development of a city and how it's laid out and the planning for it? Alright, building materials. Primary facade materials may be selected from the following list: masonry, natural stone or brick, cementitious fiber siding, wow, that's a word, or vinyl siding formed to resemble lumber siding as approved by the building official. Who's the building official, by the way? Because this is a new thing that's just popped up in Article 6, is the building official. When using a mix of primary facade materials, a maximum of 2 primary materials shall be permitted on any facade. And even split materials 50-50 on the facade shall not be permitted. One material shall be at least 60% of the facade. Facade accent materials shall be limited to trims, cornices, balconies, eaves, stairs, balustrades, pediments, columns, and other decorative elements. Multifamily residential building design. Applicability. This section shall apply to all new and redeveloped multifamily residential buildings in all zoning districts with the following exceptions. 1. PUD districts that have specific residential design standards and are approved for the adoption date of this ordinance. 2. Special districts and any allotted plat prior to the adoption of this ordinance. Site design and building orientation. Site access. New family developments with 100 or more units shall have primary access from an arterial street and shall comply with the following standards. A minimum of 1 secondary point of egress to a multifamily development may be required for public safety. No primary vehicular access from a multifamily development shall be provided on a local street serving existing single-family detached development. However, secondary vehicle access may be provided on local streets. New multifamily development fewer than 100 units may take primary access from a collector street if approved by the administrator. Entry feature design. The following landscaping standards shall apply to the primary entrance. The main side entry for multifamily development shall be treated with special landscape elements that will provide individual identity to the project. Side entry and access drives for multifamily development shall include at least 3 of the following: a minimum 5-foot wide landscape median, textured paving, interlocking pavers, or other decorative pavement, stamped concrete or stamped asphalt, gateway elements such as lighting, bollards, entry fences, or monuments, a roundabout containing landscaping, water feature, or work. Other improvements as approved by the administrator. Gates and fencing. Perimeter fencing shall not be permitted. Fencing around common spaces shall occur between buildings and to the side or rear of property, but shall not be placed along a public street. Building orientation and common. Okay, so are we? Hold on. So we're talking about multifamily, and I'm assuming this means like apartments. And a lot of people that live in apartments these days want a fence around the property. But okay. Building orientation and common open space. Buildings must be oriented towards either the perimeter streets or an internal drive, private drive or open space. These words. Amenity excludes the required yards that creates a traditional grid rather than orientation only to internal parking lots. Garage entries, carports, parking areas, and parking structures shall be internalized into building groupings or oriented away from the street frontages. Okay, so this one makes me think of Indian Springs, where they got the parking all out front with the covered areas, carport areas. It's all in the front of the housing. So these, what are they, apartments? Are they duplexes? They would all have to be built up front, and all that stuff would have to be, all the parking and the covered areas would be built in the back. Common open space shall be a minimum of 10% of the net area. Large open space should be fundamental organizing element of the site. Common open space should be well defined by buildings and streets. Buildings should be oriented in such a way as to create courtyards and open space areas. Large existing trees and other natural features should be integrated into the site. Common open space should be centralized and directly accessible to a majority of the surrounding units. Where possible, it shall be linked by a minimum of a 5-foot sidewalk to adjacent parks, paths, and open spaces. The open space shall be usable areas, and more than 25% of the open space shall be riparian areas or slopes exceeding 3 to 1. Site amenities required. In conjunction with the common open space requirements, all multifamily projects shall provide 2 or more site amenities listed for the residents. Amenities shall be centrally located for a majority of the residents, may be located within the common open space areas. A swimming pool, sport courts such as tennis, basketball, or volleyball, natural open space area with accessible and connected benches, jogging trails, fountains, art or sculptures, playgrounds, the portion of a public trail along the property, for developments along South Cherokee Street or other planned trail frontage, or other comparable amenity as approved by the administrator. Building design. 360-degree architecture. All sides of a multi-family building shall display a comparable level of quality and architectural detailing as on the front elevation. By the way, whoever is listening, if you want to follow along, I am on page 105. Does anybody have anything they want to add? I'm looking at. I noticed. Just stop for a second. I noticed last night when I was. Not last night. The last night I did this, the comments came in after I ended. So I don't know. Anyway, you keep going. So if I don't see your comment and I see it later, I will respond. All sides shall display a comparable level of quality and architectural detailing. Articulation. Maximum length of any multifamily residential building shall be 200 feet. No more than 8 townhouses may be attached in any single block. Each elevation greater than 30 feet in length, measured horizontally, shall incorporate wall plane projections or recesses. The elevations of all multifamily buildings shall be articulated through the incorporation of at least 5 or more of the following. Balconies, a minimum of 25 square feet in the area. Bay or box windows. Porches or covered entries that are compatible to the architecture, design, and design of the building. Dormers, awnings or canopies. Structural offsets a minimum of 4 feet from the principal plane of the facade. Accent materials such as brick, stone, or stucco with banding highlights. Ornamental and decorative window grills and shutters. Vertical elements such as towers or building end caps that demarcate building modules or other comparable feature as approved by the administrator. Height transition adjacent to single family. The height of any part of a multifamily building shall not exceed 40 feet where 3 stories of the building is located within 50 feet of a properly zoned used or intended to be used for detached single-family residential. Buildings and parts of buildings located more than 50 feet from property zoned detached single-family residential are subject to height restrictions of the underlying zoning district. Building entrances, pedestrian scaled, doors and windows, entry, and other features such as corner setback to be used to create pedestrian scale. Upper floor residential units shall be accessed via internal corridors and external common balconies on perimeter walls, providing access to units as prohibited. Are prohibited. Okay, so upper floor residential units shall be accessed via internal corridors and external common balconies on perimeter walls, providing access to units, are prohibited. Upper floor shall be accessed via internal corridors. So that little apartment off of Bluff, is it Bluff? Has the stairs that go up the side of the building, so they would have to be enclosed. On perimeter wall. Okay. Windows. All walls and elevations on all floors of multiple household buildings must have windows, except when necessary to assure privacy for adjacent property owners as determined by administrator. I'm sorry for all the background noise. People are cooking in the kitchen. Windows should be located to maximize the possibility. Oh, bless you, dog. Windows should be located to maximize the possibility of occupant surveillance of entryways and common areas. Roof design. On buildings with pitched roofs, the minimum roof pitch is 4 to 12. On buildings where flat roofs are predominant roof type, parapet walls must vary by a minimum of 10% in height and by varying shape to emphasize the entrances of the building. Changing roof forms or towers must be designed to correspond and denote building elements and functions such as entrances and stairwells. Oh, I gotta shift. My knee's starting to hurt. Oh, I stretch it out. Oh, you can sit down, dog. Come here. Sit down. Nope, just sit down. Just sit. Okay. A minimum of 80% of all exterior 80% of all exterior surfaces, excluding doors and windows, shall be finished with the following materials: masonry, natural stone or brick, cultured or cast stone or split-faced architectural block, CMU, in natural colors made to look like stone, fiber cement siding, EIFS or vinyl lumber form siding may be used on upper floor facades only. Stucco, concrete block, architectural metal may be used as secondary exterior metals. In no case shall a building have more than 3 building materials on any facade. Primary and secondary materials only, and excludes any trim details, moldings, or decorations. Vinyl sheet and metal sheet siding are not permitted. Roof materials must be high quality, durable, and consistent with the architectural style established for the overall development. Okay, let me look at something really quick. Alright. I'm almost approaching an hour and a half, so I'm gonna find a stopping place here real quick. Let's see. So we've got this building here. It looks like these are all push outs. Okay, there's a door. No, okay. So I guess these are all approved types. Because it doesn't say anything about approved or disapproved. I think these are just examples. These are called I see, when I went to Dallas, I see these everywhere. This is a side note. This is pack 'em and stack 'em type spaces. And a lot of cities are going to start pushing for this type of space. This is the get all the people in the city type housing. I want to hear some more. Special district design standards. These are definitely pack 'em and stack 'em. Alright. 2.3 Special District Design Standard. Let me see how far this goes. 2.3. This talks about Old Town. What's going to be allowed and not allowed there. And look, that's kind of a bit, so... What's this? Service base, lobby. That right there. Design of parking structures. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna end with the Old Town stuff and continue on the next one on that. I thought when I got to be on the school bond committee when we were going over the elementary school and what to do, and got to see all the fun designs and everything that we got to see quite a few different designs between Helen Paul and Cherokee, and what it could be done there. And I'd always kind of hoped that they would do a parking garage. I know it would have been so expensive, but I thought a parking garage in that school would have been cool at the bottom. And then, since it was going to be a multi-story school anyway, and parking was always an issue, I think it would have benefited from a little parking garage at some point of it. But I also wanted to dig a tunnel from Helen Paul to Cherokee so the kids wouldn't have to cross Cherokee. I had expensive dreams, but anyway. The city didn't like the sky bridge either that we were all so excited about, but I digress. Cherokee school is fine. I mean, I assume I don't no longer have a child at Cherokee, so none of my kids got to enjoy it once it was built, but it's a big building on that lot. Did our best and saved Helen Paul. So anyway, I will. Did I go too far? Okay, I ended up right there. So tomorrow or the next time I do a live. Yesterday I was going to, but I just needed a break. I had errands to run, things to do before the snowstorm, and I thought, well, I'm going to have all weekend stuck at home, possibly, so I can just get these out. And get them, keep reading through it, and finish it up. So it's taken me 5 to get through the first 109 pages, and I might glance through it just to kind of see. So I don't know if it's going to end up being 10 videos or what. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully it kind of just gets. Hopefully there's just a lot of technical stuff at the end and I won't have to worry about it, but who knows? I haven't got to see the whole thing yet. But anyway, so I might be back tomorrow, I might not. Just depends on what's going on. I don't plan on leaving my house. Got all my groceries bought, my TP and my paper towels, and we have milk and bread, and there's no school tomorrow, so I should be able to get back on here sometime and get another one going. But anyway. Oh. And you can leave comments on the videos and or tag me in any of the other posts about this Unified Development Code. And if you have a question or something, or you don't understand something, like, I might not have the answer, but I mean, we can at least dig into it and see if we can't find it. But I do appreciate those that have been going to the open houses and getting involved. But yeah, this document's a lot to go through, and I hope that the city, I hope people are giving their input and asking the right questions and getting the information that they're asking for. I personally haven't had any, like, I've got some opinions, but I haven't decided exactly, like, I haven't given my, I'll probably wait till I finish it before I kind of come up with a thought on the whole thing. So, anyway, but like I said, there's a comment link on the city website, and you can also find the city council and the. Oh, I can do that really quick before I go. Let me get back to the city. Okay. So I said you could. Am I sharing it yet? Okay. Let's see, where is City Catoosa? Oh, there's the menu. Okay. Go to the menu, and you can go to boards and committees. You can go to the Planning Commission, maybe. These are the Planning Commission. So these people are the ones that, let's see, the City of Catoosa Planning Commission is a council-appointed board tasked with making recommendations to the city regarding land use and zoning. Some more of their specific include the following actions: to hold public hearings on requested zoning and map amendments and making recommendations to the City Council, to approve or deny such requests, to hold public hearings on requests for amendments to the zoning code text and make recommendations to the City Council to approve or deny such requests, to hold public hearings on amendments to the comprehensive plan or approve or deny an amendment which is subject to acceptance by a governing body, to review requests for approval of subdivision plats, replats, lot splits, and make recommendations to the City Council. Public hearing process is the public hearing is designed to notify community members of upcoming changes and provide a platform for them to speak and express their opinions. The public hearing process is a multifold and generally covers the following: a letter sent to the owners with a 300 radius of the subject property, a posting that's made in the Claremore Daily Progress, a property posting with a sign showing meeting date and proposed changes. The department will also post the notice on the city website and circulate the meeting date and time using social media. What do you do if your neighbors are opposed to a proposed change? So it tells you what you can do there. So there's a planning commission, and these people make up the planning commission. And these is their schedule meetings and timelines. So it looks like they plan, let's see, their next meeting was, let's see, rezoning plating requests, January 26th. Slot split combination requests, February 9th. Their meeting, March 2nd. City Council for rezoning and plating, March 17th. Or no, February 17th. So they have an actual calendar of their stuff that they do. And it's through November this year. So that's on there. I've never looked at this stuff before. Oh, sorry. I forgot to share it. It opened a different tab. So this is what you'll look when you click on the meeting dates. This is what it looks like. And then back here, you can go look at their agendas and you can see kind of what's coming up for them, maybe, if it'll pull up. Maybe they don't have anything in here yet. Oh, it might be in the agenda section. Oh, let's see. Anyway, but there's a lot of information on the city site. If you dig around, you can probably find it. Anyway, so that is all for tonight. I will And here at this page, Lexi, stop. Yeah. Gotta make sure I remember where I gotta start. So 108 is where we'll start in the next one. And I will put I'm just gonna make a comment. $107. On there. Alrighty. So you guys stay warm, watch that weather, and maybe come back tomorrow and hang out with me if I'm live. I'll try to remember to to set my event time correct. This earlier today when I set the event up, I put in the wrong time, or I didn't adjust the time, and I didn't realize till later that the time wasn't set, and it was like at 12:30 or something. I'm like, no wonder people were like looking and nothing happened. And so I went back and did a new event and reset it. So hopefully I will make sure I did that right next time. Sometimes you do everything except for the one thing that matters. Anyway, so everybody have a good night and stay warm, and I will see you sometime later.